Well, good evening. It's keep forgetting this. January the 19th at 7:30 p.m. from Vernon, British Columbia in Canada. Nice to be with you again. I was going to stop in tonight to talk about one thing only. and the reason is I believe that this is happening really prevalent in this last 30 years, 20 years, 25 years. And it's ending up being in this last generation. What I say about that is it's sad that of all the generations that have happened on this planet, you can think about this. That's got to be like hundreds and thousands of generations. Thousands. Now, the one real thing that has happened in this last 25 years, in this last generation, is the truth has died. People growing up now who don't have the perspective that I have. I mean, I got a perspective from way back in the 30s to now. And, that's 89 years this spring. But anyway, I think that does make a difference in perspective. But lying is so prevalent. It's into everything, It's into sales, it's into news, it's into politics, it's into religion, it's into people's own relationship to other people. People have more tendency to lie now than ever. And here's the problem. First of all, I guess people have to decide, do you believe that there is a God in this universe? And a God who creates things and everything, who authored the Bible through people, he influenced how they wrote. A good example is Moses wrote about the beginning of the world and creation of the world and everything. He wasn't there. He had to be inspired and led to write that. Now, if you don't believe that God exists, because, that's the height of whatever, to think that God doesn't exist and that you exist, but he doesn't exist. You have to remember that God has laws. And he says that if people break his laws, the penalty is death. Period. Now, you have to also realize that he said that before he even created this world, he agreed with the Word and his Son, who was the creator, that he would be the Lamb of God sacrificed for the world before the world began. That's not an afterthought or anything. It was decided that Jesus Christ would be crucified, killed, and whatever to pay for the breaking of the law by all the people. Now, the thing is, one of his laws, it's not just the Ten Commandments, there's other laws too. One of them is he's got a list of people who are not going to be in his future eternal kingdom as a spirit being son. And that is those who lie. He said, all liars will be in the lake of fire. And that, now you think about that. People bald-faced lie absolutely flat out. and then you turn around and lie to you again, and then again, because they know it works. Human nature can't resist the pressure of lying. Pretty soon they give up and they say, okay, it must be that way, and shrug their shoulders and go. He also said that God of this world, which is Lucifer, Satan, is a liar and the father of lies. That's a pretty serious statement. But I made up my mind here quite some time ago that I was not going to trust what my friends told me, what my wife told me, what my children wanted to tell me, what politicians told me, what preachers told me. No. I didn't say anything. They could say whatever they like. But I don't trust them. No trust at all in that. And I decided the only thing that I could trust in this world would be the Bible that God has inspired and the words of Jesus Christ when he was on earth. And that's all in the red letter Bible if you want to get a red letter Bible. But there's no way that a person can actually believe anything else. And if he does, it's his own fault. Now, think of all the people who believe lies. Every night at 6 o'clock, people watch the news. And they parrot the news the next day to someone else. What was this now? And it's that. Oh, that happened, And this is going to happen. And that happened over there. And this guy said that. And this guy said that. And the problem is they think that it's their decision that they decided that. They know that. They don't realize that they've been spoon-fed and that they are set up to fail because they can't handle stuff like that. They can't separate. Very few can. Some do, some can't. And if it's juicy or something, oh, they believe that in a minute. The truth is not hard. And let's face it, if you tell the truth, you usually do get into trouble for it. The truth is gone. There's something in the book of Isaiah, I think it is, that when the world gets to a point where good is evil and evil is good, like it is today, then that is you're getting into the end of the age. And there's no better sign than that. There's all kinds of things that have been 180 degrees turned over now, especially in education, and religion, and politics, and you know perfectly well what is good is not good anymore, and what is not good is good. That's what they believe, and this younger generation just goes right along with it. They say they take a poll or something, and oh yeah, they said that's okay. You don't need to do that. We just do this, do that. And the idea is that there's no repercussion, which is terribly sad because, there is a repercussion. And the other thing is that I didn't friends and all this stuff. I think to myself, why in the world can't they understand and believe what God has said to this world for years, not thousands of years? And he's promised a time of reckoning. He calls it Jacob's trouble, which is the tribulation. And people are going to ignore that that's what he said. And they're going to call it things like climate change or this or that. when God is saying the world is going to rebel against you. I'm going to rebel against you. And do you know who's going to suffer the most? Sadly, when it says Jacob's trouble, that means Israelites. That means you and me, white race. The white race didn't know where they came from. They forgot that long ago. That's where they came from. Came from 10 tribes, 12, well, 10 tribes basically of Israel. 3, well, at least 2,500 years ago. God said they'd forget where they came from and everything else. They wouldn't know who they were. And that's true. Because there's no other explanation for the white race. Because we all ended up basically in Europe, moving from Israel through the Caucasian mountains. And that's why they, for some reason, call us Caucasians. And they multiplied, like he told Abraham they would. But they were given, the white race was given all the riches of the planet, actually. And they were given the best land of the planet. And all riches come from the land. Now, when you see how they're acting and breaking God's law every which way, there's a penalty for that. They're going to lose it. And they are losing it. They're killing their own children, which means they're going to be wiped out. The other races are going to take them over, and they are, just hand over fist. Because one of the reasons is they allow women to rule over them. Now, Satan, for some reason, I believe, influences women more than men because they have the same characteristics. Satan's big problem was he was jealous of God and he had vanity because of his beauty. Now, if I go into a big drugstore or whatever, I can tell you that 98% of everything in that store pertaining to beauty products and whatever is all lined up for women. I told one of the clerks one time, I said, I wonder what's the matter. I mean, how come women are so flawed that they need all this stuff? Oh, and I just laughed. I said, well, it looks that way to me. Could be wrong, but that's how it looks. Now, women are basically very vain. And they can't deny that. I mean, they will, but they can't really do it. And they're basically jealous of men because God created Adam. And they know that. They don't want to discuss that. They don't want to believe that, but they're jealous of men. I've said before that women are much more beautiful than men. They all are much better looking than men for the simple reason of attraction to get pregnant. And it's no other reason. And then God made them that way so that men who basically don't even really know what they're doing half the time about stuff like that, they just get the urge and they got to satisfy that urge and they want to find the best looking woman. A good looking woman just generates that urge in them. And the next thing you know, they're planting their seed. But the thing is, he plainly says they're not supposed to rule over men, and they are now. Hollywood, United States, America has been a big factor in the worshiping of putting women on a pedestal, like Hollywood stuff. That's wrong. That leads to wrong things, wrong, wrong emphasis on everything. Mothers have been, the most important people in the world for most of history because God honors them and really does honor them. But now they don't want to be with anymore, and they have been conformed by Satan. I cannot see anything else to use the reasoning of freedom and this and that. They want to be as free as men are in the sex act. There's no repercussion to men after having sex. It is a big repercussion to women if they get pregnant, which is what they're supposed to do, which is the idea. That's why they carry an egg, for that reason. But getting back to lying, I guess, I never thought about this when I was younger or anything else. I never thought that lying would be such a big problem. A total lie. Jesus Christ was crucified because he told the truth. And if you want to get into trouble, especially your family or anything else, just tell the truth. You'll get into trouble. I know that because I won't agree with homosexuality and everything, and it's caused me to lose my family because they want to be modern. And they say, no, that's all fine. You're being wrong. And I say, well, if I'm wrong, I guess you can say I'm wrong, but I know I'm not wrong because I'm not the one who decides that. Anyway, I thank you very much for listening tonight, and have a good night. Thank you very much.